Hello and welcome back to Fallout 76. Today we are going to do a walkthrough of the very first raid, the Gleaming Depths. Now this is not intended to be a hardcore strategy guide. What I want to do is just show you what to expect once you get inside the raid. So first off, this is the fast travel spot. This is where you'll start off when you fast travel to the Gleaming Depths. You can actually see behind me, there's some old miners that'll spawn in. But what you'll see behind me, you'll see the ultracite shard sticking up, and that is the direction where you want to go. That is where the Gleaming Depths is. And over to the right of me is actually a prep area that you can use before going into the raid if you need to do so. So this is the location of the Gleaming Depths. You can see right below that is Striker's Row. This is kind of the bottom of the ash heap, kind of right on the edge between the ash heap and the Savage Divide. That's what those mountains are right there. You can see the legend on the bottom of the map. So that's where the Gleaming Depths is. So one thing different about raids versus something like a daily op or an expedition, with those you actually join from the map and you're actually in the expedition or you're in the daily op with your team. Gleaming Depths works a little differently. You'll actually fast travel to the area and then you'll walk into the cavern, into the Gleaming Depths to join the raid. So here is the prep area. It has all of the workbenches. You can see right here on the top level, there is an armor bench, a weapon bench, a tanker's bench. We have a stash box, a scrap box, and an ammo box. There's also a punch card machine, so you can mess with your loadout if you want. And then down below, we've got a power armor station, and we have a chemistry bench. And then we have this tent over here. Now the tent has a cooking station right there on the ground. You can see that. Now the only thing we don't have here is a bed. There is a bed there, but it's not usable. It's a set piece with a dead body on it that you can loot. It has like a weapon and some ammo on it, but there is no bed, but there is everything else that you could need to prepare for the raid. So here I am on a team. We're ready to go into the raid, and you just head towards the Gleaming Depths, and it just goes down, 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 down right to there, and we'll have an opening. We do have to wait for our team leader to go in before we can actually enter the raid. There's our team leader going in. This is just like a daily op or an expedition. Until the team leader joins it, the teammates can't, at least not with the team leader's raid. You could actually go in yourself if you wanted and start your own, while you're on a team, you could actually start your own raid if you want. No one could join you though, unless you're the team leader. So once we go in, see, there's the option, help team leader or enter solo. I would recommend helping the team leader, definitely for your first time. And then once you're inside, you get a thing that pops up, and it is basically a quest. Raid Gleaming Depths, explore the deepest caverns. And so the raid is actually broken up into 5 sections. And before each section, you'll have a prep area, kind of like what you have outside of the raid, but you've got a prep area like what you have right here. And you will have all of the same things that you have there. You'll have all the benches, you'll have the stash boxes, so you can change out your loadout, you can change out your gear, do anything you need to do in between each stage if you feel it's necessary to make some changes. You can craft armor or craft ammo, craft gear, whatever you need to do. So one thing that I need to mention about joining the raid. So with an expedition or a daily op, if you join your team leader, it doesn't matter where their progress is or where they are in the daily op or the expedition, you can join them in progress. Raids are a little different. If they're active in a stage, so they've actually started the encounter, and most of the encounters start by pushing a button, and once that happens, you cannot join them. You have to wait for them to finish before you can actually enter the raid. So you're kind of stuck out here. If you say you join a server, you join a team that's actively doing a raid, you have to wait until they're either finished with that stage by completing it, or if they all die and they have to start that stage over, that's when you can join, the in-between part of the stages. And unfortunately, there's not really an on-screen indicator that tells you that you can join. You basically try to do it and it doesn't work, and you just wait. Now, there's 2 ways to know when you can actually join your team. If you see their health bars all go to 0, then you know they've died and they have to start that section over. Then you can join them. The other way is if they're successfully completed. What I've seen mostly on the test server is that people will use a emote to signal their teammate, the one that's waiting outside, to enter. In the future, I would like them to have a spectator mode so I could just enter the raid, watch my teammate, and then when they finish the stage or fail the stage, I automatically join them. But that isn't the way it works at the moment. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you try to join and it doesn't let you, it doesn't mean that there's an error. It means that they're just in progress and you have to wait for either completion or failure before you can join them. And a note on gear. Now, as you can see, I'm wearing power armor. Both my teammates are not. They're wearing just regular armor. So there is no requirement. I've heard that concern from a lot of people that they're being forced into full health. They're being forced into playing power armor in a certain play style. That's not really true. I mean, there are certain play styles that aren't going to do well. I mean, you don't want to play melee with this, unfortunately. I think a rifleman might struggle a bit just because the rate of fire is kind of low. As far as low health goes, I've done lots of raids. This one just happens to be with, at least at the moment, we'll get another teammate later. But at the moment, everyone happens to be full health. But I've done plenty of raids with people that are at, really low health, medium health, kind of all over the place. So it's more about learning the raid and learning how it works. I think that's more important. And as that goes, you shouldn't have to, if you're playing low health, you'll be able to continue to do that. All right, so now we're heading down into the first encounter. So we just weave through the tunnels. It's not like it's tricky to find or anything like that. So we just follow the, you can see the marker on the map, and we go through this first door, and we've got a sentry bot is what we have. But you can see the marker over there. That's a button to push. So you basically enter the stage, and when you're ready to start it, you push the button and the encounter starts. So now we have this sentry bot, the EN06 Guardian, and you'll notice on the bottom of the screen, there are 2 health bars, one for the shield and one for the Guardian. Now, as long as that shield is up, you cannot do direct attacks on the Guardian. If you target the Guardian directly, it won't do any damage. It will take indirect damage as you target the shield system. Once the shield system is down to 0, the health bar is down to 0, you can attack the Guardian. The Guardian also does a lot of damage. So I'm in power armor and I have electric absorption, so I can tank a lot of it, but even then I'm still taking a lot. So I'm just, I use a lot of stim packs in this area. If you're not in power armor, if you can't take a lot of damage, there are walls you can see all around the room that you can hide behind and take cover, because he will rotate. He doesn't necessarily point at one direction. He'll rotate and shoot differently. And so you can use a strategy to try and take cover, shoot him when he's not looking at you, and hide when he is. You can see his health bar is going down a little bit as we're fighting the shield system, or as we're doing damage on the shield system. He's taking indirect damage. But once that shield system is down, then we can shoot him directly. Another thing, the floor is electrified, so that will kill you if you go, down there close to the platform, so you don't want to do that. But now that his shield is down, we can do direct damage on him, and you can see his health bar goes down. I mean, he's very tanky. That is the thing. You do want to do a lot of damage. He's very, very tanky. Now we'll get a message partway through the battle. It'll say the room is heating up, get to shelter. And you can see there's a letter on the wall, the letter A, and there's three other areas. So there's 3 sets of double doors, A, B, and C. And what will happen is one of those sets will open it up, and it's random, so it won't always be the same set. But when you get that message, the room is heating up, you need to find the set of double doors and go inside. And for me, it is over in this direction. You can see my teammate has done a little ping that has marked the area for me, and we could still have a little bit of time. You don't have much, though. If you're not in the doors will eventually close, and if you're not in here, if you're outside the door when they close, because there'll be an explosion outside the doors, you will die, and you'll be done with this section until your teammates either complete it or they die too, and you have to start over. So once you get that message, you want to find the set of double doors that are open and get inside. So you can see we got his health down to 0. We killed him, and there's our reward screen right there. So after completing each stage, there is rewards after every single stage. So that means if you complete all 5 stages of the raids, there's 5 different sections where you'll get rewards. And it could be things like, you can see we've got experience, we've got some caps, we've got legendary script, Choo-Choo's, which is a 4-star legendary mod box. So this is, as far as I know, this is the only place you can actually have a loose mod as a reward. I got an anti-armor flamer, so there's a legendary thing. I got a piece of the Vulcan power armor. Got treasury notes. I think you get 2 legendary modules every single time. So full raid, you'll get 10 legendary modules. You get a lot of serum or not serum plans, but serum specifically, which I think is, I don't know. I'm not sure why. You also get things like MedX, RadX, Radaway, stim packs, super stim packs. The reward screen is too much for me to scroll through, but you get a lot of stuff. You also get a bunch of junk, and you get some ammo as well. And once that's done, you just find your way to the next section. And just like before this section, now we have another staging area with all of the scrap boxes and workbenches that we need. And we can do whatever repairs, do whatever scrapping or whatever we need to do before we go on to the next stage. So you can see on the left, that is all of the scrap I got, or all the junk I got as a reward. So this is a source of flux as well. So for people that want flux, just like boss fights, this is another source of that. So now we go into the next section with it, which is the drill room. This is the one that I find the most frustrating. It's the most challenging for me for sure. So that's the drill right there. And the idea is you want to fuel up the drill and it'll actually go through those rocks right there and take you to the third stage. Not sure why I'm holding a shovel here, but that's the button right there that's highlighted. That's what you push to start the level. Right below the button is the hopper that you put the fuel in. And you can see to the left of the hopper and the right of the hopper, those red fuel canisters. Now, those are just set pieces, but that's what the fuel canisters look like that you need to find and bring back and put in here to fill the fuel. So we've pushed the button, we've started the section, and you can see on the bottom of the screen, there are 2 meters. One shows you how much fuel is in there, which is none, and how much health the drill has, which is full. So you have 2 things you need to worry about here. You need to gather the fuel, bring it back, and fill that meter up, and you have to make sure the drill doesn't go to 0 health. If the drill goes to 0 health, then you fail the encounter and you have to start this encounter over, or if all your teammates die, you have to do that as well. And you find the drill fuel outside of the main room. So you go in here and right there's one, and you grab the fuel and you bring it back in and you deposit it. Now you can only grab one of these at a time. So even if you try and pick up more than one, it just isn't going to work. So you have to do this one at a time. And you can see as we fill it up, the drill fuel meter gets higher. Now the danger of this, let's see if we encounter one. The danger of this are ultragenetic stalkers. That is the danger. And they are mole miners. They are very specific, very distinctive looking mole miners. Right there, right here. There it is. You see these mole miners in the tunnels. If they hit you, you die. One punch and you die. Now, I'm told you can block it with a melee weapon, which is probably why I have a shovel. I thought, I'm going to try and block it. I'm not good at blocking. It's not really a mechanic I use in this game. But I'm told you can block it. Now, it will break your weapon because they hit for just so much damage. It'll break the weapon with one hit. But that's how it works. You get hit by this, you die. Which I think is what's going to happen here. Because if this is the part I'm thinking of, everywhere I go, I think there's 3 of them in total. I think that's how many there are. But every direction I turn to, there is and I haven't got this section memorized, but there's one right there. So I'm trying to get up high and there we go. I think I got it and boom. Yep, I'm dead. So what happens when you die is you just go to spectator mode and you watch your teammates keep going without you. Now you see we got 2 of us got taken out pretty close together in the same area. So we didn't survive that encounter. So we are starting over. So that is another thing I didn't mention, and that has to do with checkpointing. Every time you complete a section, you're checkpointed, and it's not the team is checkpointed. Each player on the team is checkpointed individually. So suppose I make it through the first encounter and I leave the team for some reason. Maybe I get a phone call and I have to stop playing the game for whatever reason. So if I come back and I start a team and enter a raid, I'll actually start from the point. You always start from wherever the team leader is checkpointed. So you don't ever really lose progress. And I actually think it's a really good system. If you compare that to a daily op or an expedition, you're basically tied to whatever the team leader does. If the team leader decides to leave, you got to start over. You're at the team leader's mercy, where this isn't that case. So if I complete a section or 2 sections and I get checkpointed, past 2 sections and I get kicked from the team or I lose my internet connection or whatever, I've still got those 2 points of progress. And when I start my own team later on, I start, from the point I'm checkpointed instead of having to start over. So I think that's a really nice system. So in the case where you fail a section, you don't have to start the whole raid over. You just have to start that section over, which is exactly what we're doing here. Now, as far as defending the drill goes, the things that attack the drill, we'll see right here. So attacking the drill, we have regular mole miners, not the stalkers. The stalker mole miners, they do not enter this room. They kind of stop at the edge of it. They may go up to the edge of the entrance to the room, but then they disappear and go back into the tunnels. And then you have the mole rats, the suicide mole rats that have the mines strapped to them. They'll just throw themselves at the drill as well. So you might want to have a teammate hang back and do defense of the drill. Another strategy that I've seen people do is just nobody defends. Everyone just runs and collects as quick as possible. And then every time you come back here to deposit fuel, you kill whatever you see and do it that way. So the idea is you collect faster so the drill, don't give the drill time to die. But that's what you need to deal with as far as drill defense. Mole miners and mole rats with mines on their backs. And you can see that's what we've got. We've got one of our teammates hung back and he's using a flamer to defend. A flamer is actually a pretty good tool. You do tend to get a lot of enemies attacking the drill at once. So having something that can deal with a lot of enemies is helpful if you decide to do defense that way. So we actually succeeded the second time around, and there is the reward screen. You can see you get actually a decent amount of experience for that. And I got a loose mod. Loose mods you can get, they can be anywhere between 1 and 4 stars. So it's not like you're always going to get a 4-star. In fact, there's been times I've done like 2 raids back to back and gotten no 4-star items. So it's just kind of the luck of the draw. But then you get more legendaries. You also get repair kits, which I didn't mention before. You always get repair kits as well. And then the drill goes. You can see the drill doing its little drill thing. It'll make an opening and we'll go through that into the next encounter. And they're all pretty much, the connecting but from one to the next is always pretty much the same. You have just a tunnel you go through and you wind your way down. You have a marker telling you exactly which way to go. And sometimes I still get turned around a little bit. But right here, we have another area that has all the benches, everything that we need to do our scrapping, to do our storage, whatever. You do get a lot of stuff dumped on you, so it is important to have all this stuff because your weight can really creep up, especially when you get a lot of serums and stuff. And then we go down into the third encounter, which is right here. Okay, this is a shot of it. So this is the third encounter, and we have these Enclave soldiers. 3 Enclave soldiers. You can see they're wearing the Vulcan power armor and they're in these little pods. There's one on the left, one on the right, and one straight ahead. And they all have different attacks. One has a chainsaw, one uses an auto grenade launcher that does it's a cryo attack and it actually drains your AP to nothing and slows you down. And the other one, I haven't quite figured out what weapon they're using. And you can see the letters on the wall. You can see A to the right, B straight ahead, and there's a A to the left. And there's C to the right, which you can't see, it's off the screen. And there are 3 shield generators in those areas. And as long as the shield generators are powered, as long as any one of them is powered, these soldiers cannot take any damage. So you need to disable all the shield generators. And also there are little iBots that are repair bots that will repair the shields. So it's a constant battle of taking the shields down and doing damage on the Enclave soldiers. And they're actually very tanky. Another thing that this took me a while to figure out, to notice, but you can see the light is white. And that means the shield generator for that particular section, so the B shield generator, that means it's online and it's actually working. When you've disabled that, that will turn to red. So when you get a message saying that shield generator has come online, or when you can tell that you're not doing any more damage, that's what you need to look for, is something that's highlighted in white, and that will tell you which shield generator you need to take down before you can start doing damage again. So we've started the encounter. The shield generator is actually back here, and you can see, and it goes down really quickly. It's the shield generators don't have a lot of health. It doesn't take much. Unfortunately, I was caught with almost no ammo, and I had to do a reload. But the shield generator goes down pretty quickly, and then you could just start doing damage to them. And you could see, his health doesn't go down. That's all of us shooting at him, and his health is not going down super quick. There's Lynx. Lynx is the one that has the auto grenade launcher, and it will just destroy your AP, and it makes it so you can't do VATS anymore. And it's very frustrating. Not only can you not do VATS, but you can't run. See, that's okay. Now you can see A is white. That means the shield is back online, and B is white, means it's come back online. And you'll see some repair iBots right here. They've actually repaired the shield generator, so you got to take them out first, and then take the shield generator back down. It's a whole process. Sometimes it goes really smoothly and sometimes it doesn't. But we want to ideally, if you can take out Lynx first, that'll make your life a lot easier. If you see the repair bots, you want to focus on them the most, because once they bring the shield generators back online, or actually not all of them, just one shield generator being online is enough that you can't do any damage at all. So that could be very frustrating, especially if you're doing VATS, and I am spec'd as a VATS heavy gunner, and you can see I'm doing 0, so one of the shields, yep. So that'll happen. The iBots will just get right around you, and you won't necessarily see them go by, and then you're not doing damage. So it's this constant battle, and it definitely works better as a team. Doing this solo, I'm sure it's been done, but doing this solo would be very frustrating, I would think. Yeah, we've got another shield generator. That's why I wasn't shooting. Another shield generator was online. It's the one, it was that one over there. Yeah, A is online. You can see that it's all white. And yep, it needs to be taken care of. I'm doing 0 damage, and for whatever reason, I'm not getting the clue. Now it's offline. Okay, now we can start doing damage again. All right, so we finally defeated the last Enclave soldier. There's a reward screen. That one actually took a lot. We had a lot of issues fighting those repair bots. Sometimes it goes really smoothly and sometimes it doesn't. That one didn't go smoothly, but this is another case. The first section and the third section, you really want to do as much damage as you can because the enemies are very tanky. And so, damage is really important. So I would say this favors commandos and heavy gunners the most. But there's the rewards again. The XP was 0 for some reason. I'm not really sure why it's showing 0 XP. We got mystery bobblehead and magazine packages. You can get all kinds of stuff from this. The rewards are just kind of all over the place. And then we go down into the next section. And we've got another prep area that's just, they don't all look exactly the same, but they all have the same stuff. Just the arrangement of them is a little different each time. But yeah, we've got a prep area before the 4th section. So now we're going down into the crystal room. I don't know if that's what it's called, but that tends to be what people call it. And so we've got this crystal room. Again, you've got the button right there that tells you, how to start it. You push the button. And this room is full of crystals. Now, I will say in this particular section, having a jetpack or marsupial or both is extremely helpful. I think without either one of those, that would make this a lot more difficult. So I do recommend either if you have the marsupial mutation, you're fine. If you don't, a jetpack is something you'll probably want to have. So the idea with this section is there will be lots of creatures, which we'll see shortly, that you want to kill, and they do not take direct damage. The only way to hurt them is to destroy the crystals when they are in close proximity to that, and the crystal exploding will actually do a little bit of damage. The exploding crystal will actually leave, I think it's poison. It's like a poison cloud or something, and it will actually do damage to you, and it will stagger you as well. And those will stay in the room. So the more crystals that you have destroyed, the more clouds you will have around the room. I'm not sure that it's poison though, because my character has quite high poison resistance. It's close to 200, and I still take damage from that. The creatures can also damage you as well. So what we're looking at is that tunnel. This is what we'll know once we start it. We'll have another mole miner stalker that we find in the second encounter. Same kind of deal. It'll come out and it'll one punch you as well. So the only way to kill that, same thing. So that will be the first priority, will be to destroy that if you can. And here's something else to know. So we just had someone leave our team, and it was actually the team leader. Now, if that were to happen in a daily op or an expedition, you'd all be thrown out of the instance. And that's not what happens with here, or with raids rather. If your team leader leaves during the raid, what happens is nothing. You continue on doing the raid, and eventually someone else will just be made team leader automatically. So team leader can leave at any time, and it doesn't mess up the progress. It doesn't affect you at all. So that's another positive thing. All right, so we push the button to start the encounter, and we've got the stalker mole miner, we'll see here in a minute, coming out of there, and you want to destroy the crystal, and you can see the explosion actually will that'll do a little bit of damage to him. Now, a note on the crystals. You don't need to do a lot of damage for them. The way to destroy them is just to do a lot of projectiles as quick as possible. So I'm using actually a laser. It's a quad laser rifle that's got a splitter on it. So I'm doing a lot of projectiles. I'm not doing much in the way of damage, but I'm doing a lot of projectiles. I've seen flamers, that actually works as well. Obviously, you have a range limitation. I actually do think the laser with a splitter on it works the best for that. But the crystals don't care about how much damage you're doing, just how many times you hit them. And so now we've got the stalker. And the idea with this is we'll see other creatures here. There's some more. There's mole rats. There's gulpers in here. There are death claws and crickets. And I think there's a wendigo or two. And the idea is you want them to follow you, and you want to drag them, especially with this guy. If you can get rid of him first, it makes it a lot easier because he's the only thing that one hits you. Other creature, you can see his health. You saw it briefly there. His health was down to about half. That's all you want to do, basically. You want to be able to tank damage. So even though I'm wearing power armor, I still take a lot of damage. Just, you can see as soon as I get in the cloud right there, just like near that cloud, my health started dropping. Rad toads, another thing. The creatures in here all hit really hard as well. So having a lot of stim packs, definitely helpful. I mean, my health is just, it just goes down. This is where I go through the most stim packs, is this particular section, because you want to put yourself in a hazard, because you're trying to drag the creatures close to you so you can destroy the crystals while they're near. Ideally, you want to have as many creatures as possible. So you don't want to necessarily go popping the crystals with like one creature, unless it's that mole miner. That's the only exception to that. But generally, you want to have a crowd of creatures around you. And then, see, we've destroyed it. Some of those, their health is gone. His health has got to be, it's pretty close to done. And if we can destroy what I'm standing on and this crystal, that was it. That was enough to destroy him. And so now the rest of the level is just running around getting all the other creatures to follow us and destroy them or damage them in groups. You do want to be careful though, because if you destroy all of the crystals, but the creatures aren't all dead, you'll fail the level because you can't. The only way to damage them is by destroying crystals, and there are plenty here. You should have, if you get this right, you'll have lots left over. So it's not like you'll be down to your last crystal most of the time, and that could happen. But generally, you'll have lots of crystals left over if you do this correctly. And you can see we're just trying to. This one takes patience. I think that's the biggest thing is patience. So now we've got a good amount of creatures coming at us. So that would be a good time. See all the creatures that we hit with that. But you can see there's a lot of different kinds of creatures. And when they hit you, especially the death claws, the crickets, they can actually do a lot of damage. So I recommend having a lot of stim packs for this level. But you can definitely see as my teammate's flying on his jetpack and I'm trying to get out of this corner, you can definitely see how having a jetpack or marsupial can be very helpful. Because getting up into high places, jumping over the enemies in this particular section is very helpful. And so now we're down just to one enemy. We just need to get that one. There we go. We have one little Mirelurk, and if we can just lure him to, his health is pretty, it looks like it's about halfway. So 1 or 2 more crystals should be enough. 1 more crystal should be enough to kill him. It'll do damage to me as well, but there we go. And we've succeeded on the level. And I got another 4-star mod. It's not one that I want, but I did get another 4-star mod box and I got a piece of Vulcan armor and I got 0 XP. Now I'm not really sure how the XP works on this. I'm not sure if there's a time on it. So the faster you do it, the more experience or whatever, or maybe it's a bug. I really don't know, but that's 2 sections at least that I've noticed where I got 0 XP. I didn't notice in real time. And of course this is on the test server, so it doesn't matter, but I am kind of curious about that. But now we go up the ramp and through the door, and this will be the last encounter. You want to drop all the way down here. So that's another thing to be aware of. There is that long drop. So you want to have a way to survive that. And we go to the right, and that is where the next prep area is with all of the various workbenches. And then we go through all these arches around the bend, and we will see the island right there. So we're going to this island, and this will be the final battle. This is actually my favorite section of the whole thing. And that is the snake that you've seen maybe in trailers and previews and whatever. And we are on an island surrounded by, I think it's supposed to be like molten ultracite. I think that's what it's supposed to be. And the way you start this encounter, now this one doesn't actually have a button to push. I think this is the only one. You basically just keep going forward on the island. And as you go all the way forward, or as you get farther forward, the giant snake will come up. And when that happens, the path that you just saw me cross will disappear. So you want to make sure that all your teammates are on the island before you do that, because if they're on that path, when that goes away, they just die and they're done with this encounter until you either pass it or fail it and start it over. All right, now we're ready to start. So we just run forward and you can see him come through that little waterfall area. There he is. There is the snake. And the eyes are the weak spot, I'm told. And you can see at the moment, there's 1 health bar at the bottom and he just takes a lot of health. He's very spongy. And so this is another section where you want to do a lot of damage. You don't necessarily have to be very tanky for this. It depends on how you play. That's how I'm playing. I'm trying to just tank the damage. But his attacks are generally pretty well telegraphed. You can see that spit attack that he has. Right now he's doing, that's a spit attack. And I think it's poison, but I'm not quite sure because I have really high resistance and I'm still taking a lot of poison or a lot of damage. So I'm not quite sure if it's poison or something else. But you can see right here, we have another health bar. We have the Ultracite Terror tail. And so when you see that, you want to look for the tail because the tail has a different thing. Now it's not that, it'll actually be right. Oh, see, I missed it. So that was the tail. So that was the tail right here. You can't really, it's not a good view. We'll get a better view later on. But so the tail has an attack and it actually attacks the island that you're on. And so what you want to do when the tail pops up, if you can find it in time, sometimes it's hard to spot, but if you can find the tail, you want to drain its health bar before it does its attack. When it attacks the island, you actually lose part of the island. And so your area that you can be on gets smaller and smaller. And then the tail will kind of recede after, so you can see there's the end of the attack. And it looks like we didn't lose the teammate. Pretty close though. But the Ultracite Terror's attacks are pretty well telegraphed. So you can dodge them if you want. You'll still probably need to go through a bit of stim packs. I don't worry about it. I just kind of tank the damage as I can. I still go through a lot of stim packs and you just kind of eat away his health. And that's the whole thing here. So he actually has 2 attacks. Well, he has 3 attacks. Now he has a spit attack that he does, which he's doing right now, but he also has like a breath attack. Well, you can see my character is being pushed backwards. So if you've ever played Skyrim and one of the shouts is Fusro Da, and it basically throws your enemies, pushes your enemies, and you can see I got pushed off of the edge there into the ultrasight, and I died. And so that's his other attack, is he does that, the breath attack, which is kind of fun. I think it's kind of a cool mechanic. He also has a bite attack, but for me, it doesn't seem like it does any damage. So I'm not really sure if it's supposed to do damage, or maybe I'm tanky enough that it doesn't hurt. But I've only taken damage from the spit attacks and obviously being thrown into the ultrasight. And my teammate decides, I think he just gives himself up here. I don't know if he does it on purpose or whatever, but eventually we fail this encounter and we have to start the fight over again. And you can see the island is quite small at this point as well. I don't know if you can see, it's not really a clear view, but the island is actually quite small at this point. We've lost a lot of it because of the tail. So the area that you have to work with is a little bit, we'll see. There's the tail off to the left. You kind of can get a little glimpse of it. And yeah, that tail is pretty tanky as well. There's the tail. And you want to try and damage it before it does its slap attack. He didn't do that. And we're going to lose more of the island. Because of that. Yeah, see, more of the island is gone and we're dead and we have to start over. And another nice thing about the checkpointing is you don't have to do it right now. Suppose I'm just frustrated with this and I'm just going, you know what, I've had enough of this for right now. You could turn off the game and come back, in an hour or tomorrow or whatever, and just pick up right at this stage when you maybe have, figured something out that you might have missed the first time around. But yeah, we started over, and another case where you want to do a lot of damage. That's how the first, third, and fifth encounters are. You want to be able to do a lot of damage and tank a lot of damage too. Or avoid his attacks altogether, because they are pretty well choreographed. So I don't necessarily think, you don't have to be, you can see I have two teammates that have low health. Of course, one of them just died. Bad example. But people do play this at low health and they do just fine. And people play at full health like I did earlier and I got killed. So yeah, if you play low health now, you can keep doing that with the raids. Now you can see, so the tail so far in this second go round has been very successful, and maybe we'll get a shot here, but the island I'm on right now is pretty small. There's not a whole lot left of the island, but his health is pretty low. So now it's just a battle of trying to get him dead before all of the island disappears. And down he goes. All right, so we succeeded on the second go round, but yeah, there's a little spin shot. There wasn't much of the island left. And there's the reward screen. I got another 4-star mod, which is good, and various other things that we've been getting all along. But I also have one more fun thing to show you after this. So after the raid, you get teleported out to the beginning, just to the exit, kind of pointed at that area, the little cleanup area. But we've got something fun right here as kind of a little bonus I found when I was going through this footage. So this is Vulcan Power Armor, and Vulcan Power Armor actually has, I think it's 4 new mods. They're unique mods that you can't get on other power armor. And one of them actually increases your jump height. It's not a mod that I've had drop for me, but my teammate did get it. I think they got in the last section or one of the sections of this last raid. And so he's got Marsupial and he's got that mod installed that gives you extra jump height. And we get to just see what that looks like. So you can see he's going to jump up and it goes really high. So that's kind of a fun mod. I haven't gotten it yet. I think that'd be kind of interesting, but you can see the jump height is just crazy, crazy, crazy. And there you go. Just a walkthrough of our first raid that we should get in December sometime. I'm thinking it'll be early in the month. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit one of the buttons, and I hope you'll join me in the next one. Thank you very much.